Despite electing a new party leader, Tory politicians continue to fail to unite, up to a point where they are now going on national TV to publicly attack each other. As we've been saying over the past couple of days, that Tory unity lasted about 15 minutes. First, we had the purge of the Truss loyalists, the Boris loyalists, and now there's a bit of a backlash. This is about what's been happening with Suella Braverman as Home Secretary. Only a few days ago, when she was Home Sec the first time, she was fired. And partly because, again, the real reason was there was a bit of a division over policy between Suella and Liz Truss. But also, she made a bit of a whoopsie in terms of her communication. And so she became a threat to national security for using the wrong communication tools for work. And that created a bit of a problem. So that's why she resigned. And then 4 days later, Rishi Sunak brought her back into the cabinet. And now their own colleagues are going on TV, on Talk TV. This is Jake Berry, who's also been purged. And I think maybe he's not too happy that he was purged and Suella Braverman survived. Going on TV and saying things like this.
On Suella Braverman, though, you were there in the government, in the bunker at the end when she was fired. Was it right that she came back?
Well, 6 days is a long time in politics, so
it's for the
new Prime Minister, and he must be free to appoint whoever he wants. But look, what I would say is, from my own knowledge, there were multiple breaches of the ministerial code. In fact,
so that's quite interesting. So, firstly, he was purged, and now he's going to talk about the multiple breaches of the code, and then up to a point where the other news stories came out about how the MI5 are concerned that just says she's a security threat. One thing is about mistakes and one thing is about being an actual threat, but let's see what he says.
Multiple breaches of the ministerial code. It was sent from a private email address to another member of parliament. She then sought to copy that individual's wife and accidentally sent it to a staffer in parliament. To me, that seems a really serious breach, especially when it was documents relating to cybersecurity, as I believe. That seems a really serious breach. The Cabinet Secretary had...
So look at that. Sitting right next to Kevin Maguire from The Mirror, a Labour supporter. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. So there is... One thing is about the actual gossip politics, party politics, and you sort it out internally. One thing is about the Suella stuff, which is about the government and national security. Now that has to still be dealt with inside government, but of course we need to, as voters and the taxpayers, we need to know the truth. We need transparency, and that is, I'm absolutely fine with that. But it's about how you conduct the debate on national TV. Everybody, because if it's about incompetence, that's a whole different argument. And if it's about some sort of malicious act, then that takes it to a whole new level.
His say at the time. I doubt he's changed his mind in the last 6 days, but that's a matter for the new Prime Minister.
And did she hold her hands up to it in that meeting? Did she admit it?
Well, I wasn't in the meeting, but as I understand it, the evidence was put to her and she accepted the evidence rather than the other way around.
So that's quite interesting. He said, Jake Berry said, he was being sassy, essentially, saying, well, the evidence was put to her first, rather than she coming to the government and admitting it. But that, again, that takes it to the kind of the main point, which is about articles like this coming out saying that, well, MI5 got involved and there's a lot of kind of issues with how everything has been conducted in general. When, you raise concerns with the MI5 and these guys, GCHQ in general, you have to kind of know who is going to be responsible for acting in the interest of the whole nation. She might just be incompetent, or she might be a malicious spy. But the narrative in the media is basically the latter. The way they're talking about Suella Braverman is that, well, she did it on purpose. There's something dodgy going on. She's basically a spy, without actually being able to prove it. If you're going to accuse her of being incompetent, fine. We could discover that. We could talk about that. All politicians are incompetent. Why are you surprised? We do have to sort it out. You can't just allow incompetence actually raising issues. But the main issue here is that clearly whilst it's a very important problem, has to be dealt with, she's also clearly been targeted the same way that Kemi Badenoch is also being targeted from the left-wing media and just left-wing, the cabal of the left, generally speaking. They're just trying to find all the skeletons in all the closets to bring them down. You've seen what's happened with Kemi. We reported it on the channel earlier today and yesterday. It's clearly that. Because if they really cared about national security, they would just simply go and investigate and accuse her of being incompetent. And I'm fine with that. But going around, essentially implying that she had some sort of agenda, that is a whole different problem. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. On my Tousi and we are the media.